So now coming back to this particular part here, so xp of n. So we are considered xp of n is summation L is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity x of n minus L into n. So here L is an integer which is varying from minus infinity to plus infinity, and n is the number of samples, and this value of n will be fixed whatever we can see here. So this value of n is the number of samples. Depending upon the system computation part, we have to select it. It can be a integer value. So ranging between any values, we will see what this n is denoting in the later part. But seeing this particular part here, summation minus infinity to plus infinity, expanding this, we will get this will be equal to starting from some instant. Suppose this we consider L as a negative value, so minus L and minus will become plus here, so n plus 2 times of n. I have considered L is equal to minus 2, so minus and minus it will become plus, so this will be x of n plus 2n plus, so the next term of L will be equal to minus 1, so this will be x of n plus 1 into n. So the next term of L will be equal to, after minus 1, it will be equal to 0. So this will be x of n plus x of n minus n plus x of n minus 2n, and these terms are going to be repeated. So this is how a periodic signal is going to occur. So we had started with the same part of expression, and we are just terminating on this particular part of expression itself. So now there is a very important concept, what we call it as aliasing. So this is a very important concept. Whatever signals the processing part is to be done, so the aliasing has to be neglected, or we have to overcome this particular part of aliasing. So what is aliasing? Aliasing is nothing but it is just in simple terms we call it as overlapping of the signals. We call it as overlapping of the signals. Suppose if there is a signal and we want the periodic nature of that particular signal. If signals are being overlapped, then there is a tendency of losing some of the data. So we have to just overcome the particular effect of overlapping in considering this particular processing of any signals. So we will just see what is this and how it can be overcome in this particular case now. So we will consider here a signal x of en as a non-periodic signal. So I will consider the signal x of n as non-periodic in nature, and this we will consider it is having L number of samples. So L samples it is considering. So in this case now, if I plot this with respect to en, this x of en, so it is having L number of samples here, and if we consider L is equal to 4, x of n will have 4 samples here. So starting from 0, 1, 2, and 3. So it is having 4 samples. I will consider some signal values for this, and other values for this will be equal to 0. So whether my screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. So we have considered L is equal to 4 samples. It is having x of L is equal to 4 in the sense if I write it in expression form, this I can write it in this particular form. So 0, 1, 2, and 3. So these are the values for x of n. So this I will consider it as 0. So this particular part 0 value. So next is 1, 2 and 3. So this is x of n, whatever we are going to consider, and other two values I will consider it as 0. So this x of n is having 4 samples now. So now suppose if we consider this, there are two different cases here. From this non-periodic signal, that is x of n is non-periodic, we want to write a periodic signal xp of n for this particular case. So to write xp of n, that is periodic signal for x of n. So that is the periodic representation. We will consider n as the period of xp of n. So there is a difference between L and N now. So L is the number of samples which are present here. So I have considered 4 samples. So there will be 4 values of amplitude. So 0, 1, 2 and 3 are the 4 samples which are present in x of n. We want xp of n, that is periodic nature of x of n. But the value of n will be equal to n is the period. So after this value of n, the signal xp of n goes on repeating. So in this case, now what we will do here is I will consider value of n to be equal to 6. So that is, I will consider n greater than L. So value of n is greater than L if I consider. So L is 4, N is 6. So if in this case now we can write this particular term, that is x p of n will be equal to summation L is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity x of n minus L into 6, because we have considered the value of n to be 6 here. So if we expand this summation term, so we will get uh, so plus x of, suppose if I consider L is equal to minus 2, we will get it as n plus 2 into 6 is 12. Now if I consider L is equal to minus 1, we will get n plus 6 plus, when L is equal to 0, this will be x of n plus this will be x of n minus 6 plus x of n minus 12, and so on. The terms goes and continue in this part here. So that is the periodic nature continues. So now after every 6 instance of time, that is, we have considered n is equal to 6. After every 6 instance of time, the signal x of n will be repeating here. So in this case now, suppose if we sketch this particular signal, so for 4 it is 0, for 5 is equal to 0. First we have to make x of n equal to 6 samples. Already they have given L is equal to 4. So x of n will be is having this particular part, and other 2 samples have to be made 0. That is at the instant n is equal to 4 and n is equal to 5, we have to make this as equal to 0. So now drawing xp of n with referring to this particular part here. So I will just add the slides here for this particular case. So this will be n. So starting from the instant, suppose if I start from the instant 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we just move back to this particular part here, so I will start from the instant n is equal to 0. So for this particular case, at x of n minus 6, so again the signal x of n is going to be repeated at this particular case. So for this particular part here, So 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11, 12. So in this case, writing the samples for this. So 0, 1, 2, 3. Other two terms are 0. So at the sixth instant, again the signal, this entire signal is going to repeat. So if we see this particular part, this entire signal will be repeated at this particular instant. So if I take this part here, 0, 1, 2, 3, this is 0 and 0. So this is the second instant of time what we can see. So after this, again the signal is going to repeat, and so this will be xp of n, the periodic signal. So in this case now, there was no problem that we are considered n greater than l. So not 6, it is greater than L. N is considered to be greater than the length of samples of X of N. So there is a second case. Suppose if I consider N is equal to 3. Suppose if N is equal to 3, if we consider, so what will happen, we will see here. So we have L is equal to 4, L is equal to 4, but N is equal to 3, that is N is less than L in this case now. So X of N is this particular case now. So XP of N should obtain after every 3 instance, should repeat after every 3 instance of time. So 0, 1, 2, 3 at this instant. So the sample has to be repeated at this particular instant. So for this particular case, if I write X of N is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3. So it is having 4 samples, but our n is equal to 3. So 3 in the sense, so only 3 values are going to be considered at this. So at the next instant, the signal has to be repeated. So if I draw that particular signal here, so this is n, 0, 1, 2. So at this 0th instant, the amplitude is 0. So amplitude will be 1 at this, amplitude will be 2 at this particular instant. So there are 3 samples. So n is equal to 3 in the sense it will be equal to 3 samples. So for periodicity, after 3 samples, the signal has to be repeated. So already there is one signal for x of n at this particular instant. So now there will be overlapping of this. So there is a 0 value, 1 value, 2 value, and this third value. So this particular part will be, again this will be 0, 1, 2, and 3. Again this signal will be repeated at this. So what can be seen here is, so at this particular point, so there are at n is equal to 3, there are 2 values of amplitude. So what we call it as overlapping of the signal. So the important point here is when n is less than L, when that is the period of the signal is less than the number of samples, overlapping arises. Overlapping of the signal arises, or aliasing of signal arises. If this is the case, the system will not know which value to be taken, whether it has to be taken the value amplitude of the x of n or amplitude of xp of n. So there will be a confusion arising in the processor, and it will give a error popping out. So for processing of any signals, the value, this is a condition to be satisfied. N should be either greater than or equal to L, and that is the overlapping should be neglected, or it has to be overcome, or no overlapping has to be occurred in processing of the signal. So this is the important conclusion while we obtain the frequency domain response of any of the signals. Am I audible? Whether this part is clear?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Whether this is clear, this part?
Yes, sir.
Hassan Askeri? Jostel?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So just moving on to the next part. So the important thing to be remembered here is no overlapping or no aliasing has to be considered in processing of the signal, and this condition has to be remembered here. So this particular condition, that is n greater than or equal to L, has to be satisfied while considering the signals. So we will just proceed with the next part. So whatever expressions we had taken here, so we had obtained the expression for this particular case as so x of so we had obtained x of 2 pi divided by n into k. So this was equal to summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1. The summation term of summation L is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity x of n minus ln was replaced taken as xp of n into e to the power of minus j 2 pi divided by n k into n. So now here important part here is n is varying from 0 to n minus 1, since there are n samples whatever we have considered. But what is the value of k? What is the value of k? What we have to consider? So value of k should be varying from 0 to n minus 1 because of the n samples whatever we are going to consider. So in this case, this particular part if we see here, so to obtain this is the frequency domain signal of the discrete time signal x of n. That is, we have considered x of n. Now we have converted that x of n into a periodic signal and obtained the frequency domain signal. So this is a frequency domain signal, and we have sampled it so that it will be easier for us to process. The next part is, as I've told in yesterday's class, once the signal is sampled and obtained in discrete steps, again it should be in the form that we can reconstruct the original signal, that is the continuous time signal. So it should be easier and it should be made possible that the original signal should be reconstructed. Suppose if this is the periodic signal with period n, then so to express this xp of n, we have to use the Fourier series expression, and this is only the theory part behind this. So there is nothing much involved with this particular case, so I will not go in detail part of this. So to obtain the time domain signal, so this is the frequency domain. To obtain the time domain signal, we can write xp of n by using the Fourier series expression. So xp of n is equal to 1 divided by n times summation k is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of, so this particular part, that is the frequency domain whatever signal we have to consider, 2 pi by n into k into e to the power of j 2 pi by n k into n. So now here value of n is varying from 0, 1, 2 up to n minus 1. So up to n minus 1. So this is how we are going to reconstruct. So how to obtain this xp of n? So this xp of n is obtained by using another tool, what we call it as a Fourier series. So Fourier series tool is obtained for obtaining this particular reconstructed signal. We call this as a reconstructed signal. So whether this part is clear up till this particular part. So from the next part, whatever I'm going to do in the next slide, it will be the inclusion for our syllabus. So starting the first module. So that is a Fourier transform or discrete Fourier transform. So whether this is clear up till this particular instant. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So only one response I'm getting. So others, I don't know what they are doing. Are you there online? Okay, we will not waste our time. So moving on to the next part. So directly moving on to the topic here of today's session, that is definition of discrete Fourier transform. So this is the first module, whatever is present for us, that is discrete Fourier transform. In short, we call it as DFT. So now the definition of discrete Fourier transform is obtained from the previous part, whatever we have done. That is the frequency representation of the discrete time signal and the reconstructed signal. So that is the base for this particular part. So discrete Fourier transform is nothing but we are taking the samples of the Fourier transform. So the samples of the Fourier transform are taken at discrete instance of time. So we call it as discrete Fourier transform. So obtain the expression for this. So this is nothing but x of obtained from the expression x of 2 pi divided by n into k. So 2 pi by n into k is the, nothing but it is the number of samples or whatever we have considered. So this will be equal to summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1. So 0 to n minus 1 mainly because we are considering the n number of samples. So x p of n into e to the power of minus j 2 pi divided by n k into n. So this is the expression what we had landed up from the discrete frequency representation. So now in this case, if the number of samples of x of n, that is if the samples in x of n is less than n, so that was the consideration what we had considered. So that is if n is greater than l. If we consider l is the number of samples of x of n and n is the number of samples in xp of n. If this is the case, then there is no overlapping. And if there is overlapping, then the definition of discrete Fourier transform can be obtained. So in this case, now what we can do here is, instead of writing every time x of 2 pi by n into k, we can just denote this particular term as x of k itself, because 2 pi by n will be a constant term here. Depending upon the number of samples, only k is a variable. Therefore, to simplify this particular part, we are considering it as x of k, which is equal to summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1. Xp of n, we will consider it as x of n itself. That is the given signal x of n into e to the power of minus j 2 pi divided by n k into n. N is varying from 0 to n minus 1 and k is varying from, so k will be equal to 0, 1, 2 up to n minus 1, up to n minus 1. So this entire term, what we can see here, so if I make it in the box term, so this particular part is nothing but the definition of DFT. Please make a note of this particular definition because it will be very useful in solving the problems related to the Fourier transform. So please make a note of this particular part. And in the meantime, while you note down as a part of your attendance, please type in your USN in the chat box. I think I'm audible. So when you enter your USN, please note down this particular expression also. This is a very important expression, and for our two modules, that is module 1 and module 2, we are dealing mainly with this particular expression of discrete Fourier transform. Whether you have noted down this? Am I audible? Whether you have noted down? Can I get some response for this?
Yes, sir. Noted.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any clarifications? Any clarification with this particular part? Up till this point?
Sir, on the right hand side, since 2 pi n is constant, or does it change?
This one? This one?
Yeah, e power minus j 2 pi
E
by
power
n
of
k
minus j 2 pi by n k into n. Here, see here, so k is variable. So this part, to make it clear, so this is a constant. 2 pi by n is a constant depending upon the value of n. But here there are two variables, k and n are two variables. One variable is with respect to the summation term, and another variable k is with respect to the outer term. Since to reduce our complexity in writing, every time we have to write x of 2 pi by n into k, we are just writing it as x of k. Only that reduction. So because here what happens here is k will be equal to 0, 1, 2. So we are only representing x of 0, x of 1, x of 2 and going on. But this term we will be not writing. Only that is the difference here. Whereas for calculation of this x values, so x of values, this has to be substituted. This particular part has to be substituted, whatever you can see onto this particular part. So we will keep this as it is. Only we will modify this particular term because in many of the standard resources what I referred, so they are only denoting it with x of k. They are not representing with the entire part what is given, that is x of 2 pi by n into k. So only for the simplicity part.
Yes.
Any other
Thank you.
clarifications? Any other clarifications?
No, sir.
Yes, okay. But just moving forward with this particular part here. So normally what happens here is we denote x of k. So what is x of k now? X of k, you should be in a position to respond that x of k is nothing but DFT. DFT stands for discrete Fourier transform of x of n. So discrete Fourier in the sense the given signal is discrete in nature and we represent x of k is equal to DFT of x of n. And this will be our standard notation for each and every problem, whatever we are going to solve. And to obtain this DFT, so if I see this particular part, to obtain this DFT, there are number of methods in solving. So that is the mathematical tools are available in solving. Also by using some of the software tools or the techniques, we can obtain this particular value, because the value, the number n, whatever we consider, the n samples whatever we considered is as no limit. It can be from 0 up to infinity, from 0 to infinity also, but we will limit only for finite cases to have a better understanding of calculation or computation of this particular part. So you have to remember this particular case. So dft of x of n is nothing but x of k, and the definition of x of k will be equal to summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n e to the power of minus j 2 pi by n k into n. The next part here is the definition of inverse discrete Fourier transform. That is, so what is this inverse discrete Fourier transform? We will know the value of x of k. That is, the frequency samples of the discrete frequency samples are known to us. From this discrete frequency samples, we have to find x of n. We have to obtain x of n. For that, we will be using the another tool, what we call it as inverse discrete Fourier transform. Therefore, we can write this as x of n will be equal to IDFT. So I stands for inverse, DFT is discrete Fourier transform, IDFT of x of k. So now what will be the definition of this? So the definition of this x of n is from the reconstructed signal, whatever we have seen at this particular point. So this xp of n, whatever we have written, is nothing but it is a terming for the definition of the inverse discrete Fourier transform. So to write that particular part, so x of n, we want x of n, that is the time domain representation. This will be equal to 1 by n times summation k. So here this will be x of k. So variable will be k. K is varying from 0 to n minus 1 into e to the power of plus j 2 pi divided by n k into n. Only difference between the previous definition and this is that, so there is a 1 by n term and the exponential term is the complex conjugate, that is e to the power of j 2 pi divided by n k into n. And here k is from 0 to n minus 1. Well, what will be n? N is from 0 to n minus 1. So n value will be varying from 0 to n minus 1. So this is the definition of the inverse discrete Fourier transform, that we call it as IDFT. And this is also very important to us when we have the frequency samples, how to obtain the time domain samples of the given signal. So we will be using this particular expression for solving this particular case. So whether this part is clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So what about others? Nikhil is responding. Nikhil Lance is responding. What about others?
Yes, sir.
Those who are, yes, Royston responding to yes. Others?
Clear, sir.
Yes. So
Yes,
these
sir.
are the first part, whatever we have seen in the first topic. So the next part is moving on to the problem solving of this particular case. So we are going to solve the problems, that is solve in the sense only the sequence is given. So seeing this, I will just move back to the Fourier discrete Fourier transform. So x of n will be given to us. So here x of n will be given and they will specify the length of the sequence, that is number of samples they will specify. We have to find x of k, only we have to compute. So we have to use our calculator and just calculate, nothing more to do in this particular part. We have to find the number of samples, frequency samples when the time domain signals are given. But the computation is little bit harder, what we can say, because there are a number of samples. For example, if n is equal to 4, n is equal to 4, see the value of k. Value of k will be varying from 0 to 4 minus 1, that is 0 to 3. So k will, we have to find values for x of 0, x of 1, x of 2, and x of 3. Also n is varying from 0 to n minus 1, that is 4 minus 1. So many computations will be available, that is 4 number of computation, when k is equal to 0, when k is equal to 1, when k is equal to 2, and when k is equal to 3. So this is an example with n is equal to 4. If I take with n is equal to 6 or n is equal to 8, see the number of samples from 0 to 7. For this case, from 0 to 5 we have to take. So we have to find x of 0 up to x of 7 in case of 8 point DFT, and in case of n is equal to 6, we can take it as the x of 0 to x of 5. So here the another important part what we can see here, so they might give compute n point DFT, compute n point DFT. So this is nothing but this is a variable now. So n is the number of samples. So from the examination point of view, they might give you the question in that compute 4 point DFT, compute 8 point DFT, compute 16 point DFT, compute 5 point DFT, 6 point DFT. So these are the questions whatever are asked from the examination point of view. So for that case, we have to go on computing this particular case. So I think this part is clear with this. So for tomorrow's class, what we will be doing here is we will be solving this particular problem. And the basic requirement for solving the problem is you have to keep your calculator with you. So without calculator, the problem solution cannot be done. So I will be only giving the steps in solving this problem. You have to calculate and tell me the responses or answers for this in tomorrow's class. So any clarifications before winding up this today's class?
No, sir.
Any clarifications?
No, sir.
Yes, if there are no clarifications, so from tomorrow's class, there will be no more theory classes, only the problem solving classes. From tomorrow's, we will be starting a solution of problems. So again, a request from my side, maintain a separate book for problem solving. Don't see while I solve, but you have to solve the problems. Take a calculator, keep your calculator active, and you have to start solving along with me from tomorrow's class. So if there are no more clarifications, then we will wind up this today's class. So thank you for attending today's session, and stay safe and be safe until tomorrow. We will meet in tomorrow's class.
Remember this,